Hey there folks, this is David Lab of OnDavidsBrain, and welcome back to our Let's Play of BioShock Infinite for the PS4. Okay, though, bit of a confession time. We're done with the main game, but, well, I guess first things first, I'll show you what we can unlock in Clash of the Cloud. So, personally, I don't really see the need to, but, yeah, I kind of went ahead and did some of the challenges on my own. Mostly because, well, one, there's far more comprehensive and far better guides out there. And two, well, I've been like just getting all these blue ribbons. I've just got 4 left to go in Raven's Dome and Emporia Arcade, and unfortunately they're some of the tougher ones. But you're not really here to see that. Yeah, I've already gotten all the weapon upgrades, I got all the vigors, all the vigor upgrades. Got all the gear, blah blah blah. So, just to show you around the Colombian Archaeological Society. And also, a taste of what's to come. Yep, aside from unlocking a couple of kinescopes, we got, well, the re-recorded 1912 versions of, well, anachronistic music. Fortunate Son, Tainted Love, Shiny Happy People, and Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And let's see, how many do you think that these would make for some good stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I mean, Fortunate Son, Tainted Love, and Shiny Happy People, I could definitely see that. But Everybody Wants to Rule the World, yeah, that sounds a little bit too long. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well. But anyways, enough of my fanfic. Let's see. Here's the designs of the potential airships. Oh, here's a little something the art direction concept art. Art director. Singing underwater? No. Singing in the clouds? Yes. It's silly. And here's the inspiration for the motorized Patriot, the automatic gentleman. No lady should be without one. Oh yeah, and also character models. Here's Elderly Elizabeth, Emporia's Red Light District, which, based on a city based on Catholic Christian values, why would they honestly want a Red Light District? I could definitely see why they didn't need it. Here's a version of Elizabeth that was, I think, seen in 1 or 2 of the trailers. Alternate Elizabeth. And Elizabeth from when we first saw her. Let's see. The Skyline Station. I don't know, it looks like it could have been cool. And The Fall of Icarus. Yeah, I remember they were announcing this game, at least under the title of Project Icarus, or something like that. Where are all those voices coming from? Whatever. And here's the original character model for the Handyman, which you can see in some of the trailers if you look it up on YouTube. Let's see. Floating City concept art. Which, yeah, definitely looks like they were trying to more go with the original BioShock-esque aesthetic, with mostly kind of looking like something that that H.R. Geiger would probably come out of his head. Robert and Rosalind Lutece, and little tip: if you unlock their, if you purchase their statues, you can enter a version of their house that hasn't been destroyed by the tear, that hasn't been completely sabotaged by Fink. And basically nothing really much here, except that it's a lot more orderly, and oh yeah, there's at least 5 voxophones in here. And I'll play them in order. Or at least the ones I found them in order. OnDavidsBrain.
That ghastly Fink fellow has been busy of late. He has sent his minions out to prowl the city, on the lookout for tears wherever they might appear. They are armed with camera and voxophone. One could only presume he is no longer content to steal patents from his own reality. No surprise, then, his scientific breakthroughs. I imagine I could also appropriate parlor tricks like incinerating trees with the snap of my fingers. But the universe offers more delicious fish to fry.
Yeah, once again confirming that Fink is, well, a thieving, lying Fink. Him and his brother. And the consistency of music.
When I finally brought my brother through, he seemed to lack the capacity to square his own reality with this one. I suspected such a thing would happen, yet had no means to accommodate his distress. His behavior was that of the feeble-minded. He hemorrhaged nearly continuously from his nose. Naturally, I was able to transfuse him from my own veins and thus avoid catastrophe. In the end, it was music that proved therapeutic and grounded his thoughts. A middle C vibrates at 262 hertz, no matter what the universe.
So that proves that for one crossing over to another universe using Lutece's tear system, you need at least something that's consistent throughout the universe in order to stabilize yourself and, well, not die in hemorrhages. So that's a little interesting bit of world building. Oh, and speaking of world building, playing Prophet.
Brother, I have told you many times that I encountered this particular Caesar before he crossed the Rubicon. When I met Comstock, he was little more than a preacher, able to move both members of the flock or members of Congress with equal dexterity. He believed in my work, and his influence bought the funds I so needed. And if he wanted to use tears to play Prophet, that was his prerogative. But at some point, the man became incapable of distinguishing his performance from his person. I sit in judgment. But then again, it was I who built the stage.
I think we can kind of attest that to the brain tumors he endured from exposure to the device. But that's just me. And speaking of being unable, never mind. No cell will hold them.
This evening, on my way back from supper, my theory became reality. A spontaneous tear had opened in the market district, emitting both sights and sounds. I observed what I could only imagine to be some future version of Columbia. Though familiar, strange red flags with a small yellow icon flew from her rooftops. Although we can lock up the girl, it appears her powers will not be imprisoned so easily.
So yeah, possibly Terra's revealing an alternate universe where Columbia was either developed by or eventually conquered by the Soviet Union. And last but not least, a better father.
Fink's bird is a repulsive creature, but I suppose a prison needs a guard. What surprised me is not how the girl has imprinted upon the monster. After all, one might observe a baby chimpanzee accept a wire replica for its mother. But I did not expect the brute to be capable of forming an attachment in return. Perhaps it could prove a better father to her than the two she has known.
Well, let's give Elizabeth three choices here. One, there's the giant robot gargoyle that provides for her, gives her stuff, and basically an overzealous protector. The second one was one who sold her when she was just an infant to go and pay off his drunken gambling debts. And the third one wanted to brainwash her and make her completely destroy the world because of his crazy xenophobic reasons. Yeah, quite frankly, I don't really blame her for that assessment. Yeah, nothing much here, just for a little bit of extra lore building that, for some reason, didn't make it into the main game. But I guess they just wanted to include it here because I don't know. Well, anyways, continuing on with the tour. Let's see. A possible scenario with a crashed airship. Oh yeah, it's just like how the people there are just standing out there with their arms stretched out as like standby models. The final model, the Handyman. Columbia Nouveau. Possible design, but not exactly efficient. Oh yeah, more character models. Yeah, Daisy Fitzroy. Oh yeah, and Slade. Yeah, take a note about those about those jewels poking out of his skull. They'll come into those could possibly come into play later. And of course, the old bastard himself, Comstock. And yep, there's Booker. All right, now that we have both of them actually face to face. Well, Comstock did a decent job hiding his features with the beard, and then again, the aging definitely helped. The path not taken. And for an airship parade in May 1908. And, oh, what is... let's see, an alternate Zeppelin. Yeah, it kind of looks like the Nautilus from... Yeah, it kind of looks like the Nautilus from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mean the actual comic, not that movie. Well, anyways, a little bit of something fun before we unveil the big secret of this thing. Magical Melody, Sweet Columbia. Jeremiah Fink's brother Albert is Columbia's most popular composer. His many songs subjugate the chart. Can all this amazing music come from just one man? Plagiarism. And now, speaking of plagiarists, Fink makes half men into handymen. Tumors have long confounded our medical establishment. Probably doesn't exactly help by them smoking. Once transplanted into Fink's miracle suit, he is protective once again. Once invalid, now invincible. And in constant pain. Just might want to keep that little detail under wraps. And now, write your own love story. This young fellow tires of picnics for one. So he gives possession a whirl. Now he fends off the parasect. The smarter set all agree. Why wait for Cuba to come along? Still a better love story than Twilight. And, oh yeah, Songbird. And this is as close as we'll ever get to being able to do this. Yeah, as soon as I saw Songbird in the trailer all those years ago, I was thinking, wow, I cannot wait to fight this guy. But then in the final game, I couldn't. I cannot even begin to describe the amount of sheer and utter disappointment from that. I mean, you see this thing and you're thinking, oh my god, that looks so scary, I can't wait to try my luck with it. But no. And yeah, apparently there was actually going to be a game mechanic where you could choose to either fight Songbird or flee or hide and flee from it, and what you do would affect your relationship with Elizabeth. But I'm guessing they kind of removed that mechanic since it would be, well, kind of difficult to actually, yeah, I'm guessing it would just be difficult to implement. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the game would be able to track your relationship between Elizabeth and wouldn't it still just make a lot more sense that you would want to kill Songbird and not just hide from it? Because, you know, this thing is going to be a major problem to you either way. You can either slow it down and drain it out, making the final encounter with him a lot easier, or not. Huh. And yeah, here comes the thing that would... Okay. Here comes what this whole DLC's been leading up to. A revelation for part 2 of the continuing story of Columbia.
Now.
On it.
Yep. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh god, is that a splicer? And that can only mean one thing. And we all know what that means. We're going back. Back to Rapture. And that's what will await us next time. So until then, this is Dave Lab of OnDavidsBrain. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and contribute to my Patreon. Links in the description at the bottom. Happy days ahead!